Good morning, everyone. It's Amanda from Willow and Pip. We are in full candle making season today, so I am just going to be filming along for a vlog style in my candle and soap making studio. We are almost mid-September now, and I would say the state of my work area is really the state of the business. We're really, really busy. I'm trying to multitask, do multiple things. So I thought I would just show you behind the scenes again today. People really seem to like that. So what we are working on today is my Christmas candle collection. These are a discovery sample set that I'm working on of 2-ounce tins. I'm going to be pouring 6 different fragrance scents, which I have been working on as stated. Today I have 4 of them poured in various stages here. So for the ones that I've already smoothed the tops ready to go, I'm going to be applying the stickers today. These ones I'm going to be removing the wick centering tabs, cutting, and doing the stickers as well. And then I have off camera here 2 more lines of tins that I have to pour to make the 6. So I started this pouring last weekend, and in between starting the pouring and today I did a market. That was yesterday, so I'm quite tired today, but this is how it works for me in juggling a full-time career and a part-time business. I fit things in stages and as I can. So I want to get these through and cleared so that I can start pouring my 8-ounce candles, which are really my bread and butter in the candle piece of my business. They're what goes through quickly. Because I just did a market and I actually just restocked one of my consignment shops here in Southampton, I do need to start pouring those this afternoon as well if I can get to it. But first, I want to clear my workspace, so I've got to get these out of the way and fully complete. All right, so without further ado, we'll get kicked off. So this is a box of my Christmas labels that I had designed through Canva and then recently ordered through Sticker Mule. I have switched over. There was a point in time in my business that I did print most of my own stickers. Right now I'm only printing my 10-ounce candles from home, but all the other candles I'm starting to switch over. I really like the quality of the Sticker Mule labels. I'm getting really, really good feedback on the consistent branding, the sticker quality, and the overall quality of the product. So I think for me at this stage, it's worth it. But when I first started out, I didn't do this. So if you're new to candle making, there's nothing wrong with printing at home. And there's pros and cons for both. So these stickers are going to be for my 8-ounce candles of the same fragrance for these 2-ounce tins. So I'm going to just set those aside. And what I want to start pulling out for these, I had designed, so for the 2-ounce tins, I had designed these round stickers, and it looks like they've kind of come in different packaging here, which is interesting. But these are going to be for the top of the tins, and then I have strips that I've ordered. So let's pull out and see what we've got here. So I'm just going to separate the round tops. Okay, that looks good. These are going to be for the boxes themselves. So I'm going to actually stick these on top of the boxes where all the tins are going to go in. So those look really cute. And in here must be my strips. So I ordered rectangle strips, and I've already been through these boxes, so some of them are previously opened. Aha! So these are what the strips look like. If you can see, which you can't, there you go. And these are just going to go around the edging of the tins. And so what I've done is colored my logo, and then the round sticker that goes onto the top of the tins has that same coloring. So I hope it comes together. I had a vision. I hope the vision works. Okay, so I'm just going to sort through these. I'm looking for my tinsel. So this is a cypress and fig. I'm not ready for that one yet. Sticker Mule does take a couple weeks for delivery, so if you're starting to design or think of doing your own, Just make sure that you've got that timing in mind. I started designing these a little while back, which is the first time I've ever been this far ahead, so that's a good thing. I have been a little more spontaneous in the past. Which has given me a lot of freedom in my business. But I think in the end, this is going to pay off because I think this is going to look really seamless. I'm very, very hopeful. And those are all the stickers. All right, now that we've got the stickers sorted, I'm going to put the lids on these ones. These are just the cutest little. I'm really happy with these. So again, this discovery set, or these Christmas samplers or holiday samplers, is not an original idea. I see a lot of other candle makers doing these. So it's one of those things where I hope, I'm crossing my fingers on whether these will be popular or not. I was super attracted to them when I saw them. I thought, what a good idea. Both to sell in these like sampler boxes, and I also intend to sell them individually for little stocking stuffers or little hostess gifts. I just think they're the sweetest things. But I will admit they've been a bit of a labor of love. I've had to design the labels. So I designed them on Canva, and then you download them and you upload them onto Sticker Mule, and I had to create little cutout templates. So I like measured the size of the tins, the circumference of the top of the tins where I wanted the lid sticker to go. And that stuff for me is, the design part is not something I'm passionate about. I really like, or not excited about it. I really enjoy making, and I also enjoy selling. But there's a means to an end, and I know in order for me to sell, all of that has to look good and come together. So it's worth it in the end. I'm hoping too there might be an opportunity here, if these go well, that next year I'll be able to use some of my same designs. Okay, so these ones are the Frosted Plum. So I'll show you here. These are the stickers for the Frosted Plum. And I think they look really, really cute. Just simple. These are going to go wrap around the edge. Just enough color. So we'll see how this goes. This is sort of a real-time test here. I find no matter how much workspace I've given myself, you just never have enough. Like, you eat into it. I'll change the camera angle here so you can see maybe a little more closer. So my measurements appear to be accurate. Let's see how tricky this is to get on. There's a little bit of a ridge there I'm trying to avoid. There, that went better. Pretty cute. All the little bubbles out. So just simple. I think that's quite nice. I think that's going to look really, really cute on a shelf. You can see what the name is. I just kept them simple. I didn't want a whole bunch of jazz, a whole bunch of busyness. So I have these circles, which the thought was they would match the color of the side. And I would put the circles right on the top so that when you're looking from above, you can have this cohesive collection. Well, maybe I should have put the name of the candle on the top sticker. I don't know. I think this is quite cute though. What was the vision? What do you think? I don't know. Wind it up to there. I think it's really cute. All right, I'm gonna get these going here. My intent was to get the labeling done so I could put them in a box. Not their final gift box, but a box where I could put on my curing shelves and keep it safe and clean. But then when I come time to put them in their discovery boxes, I don't have to worry about mixing them up because the labels will tell me what kind they are. So last year, my Christmas candles I made in a 4-ounce clear vessel with a black tin lid. I got them from Uline. It's my new go-to for candle vessels. I just find with Uline, the delivery can't be beat. Their consistency is always the same. They always have jars in stock. I've never run out with Uline. And for me, those are the critical pieces. Anyway, last year I did these 4-ounce little, so these are 2-ounce, so 4 ounces is double the size of this, but they were a clear jar and I printed my own labels. I might bring those back this year as well. We will see how these do quantity wise. For my Christmas candles, what I actually did was took some of my fragrance oils that I had left over from the prior year that were still obviously not expired, but I named them Christmas scents. And then I always design my labels on Canva, but these ones I printed myself. So I typed the words like Happy Holidays on the top, and then I would have the name of the candle as well. But for example, I had a really popular fragrance oil that I used that was a lemon or a citrus. And I called it something like Lemon Frost. And those candles went like hotcakes, probably because of the size and the price point, and of course them being giftable, stocking size, all those things. And it's the holiday season with candles. But I kind of stumbled upon that idea. And it was a really, really good way to use up fragrances because I wasn't pre-ordering the labels. So I wasn't worried about, how many labels per how many ounces of fragrance oils, not wanting to waste. I just printed the labels as I needed them as a fragrance based on what I had on hand for fragrance oils, named them accordingly. And I just sold them as singles. So when a certain fragrance oil ran out, it ran out. So because of that, I very well may look to do that again this year. Time permitting, of course, like all of the things in this business. But I thought I would share that with you. It just popped into my head as I was working through these ones. There's also the other cool thing about owning a soap and candle business, I will say, is when it comes time to doing my own gifts, just for family, friends, or work colleagues, it's so nice to have all of this inventory on hand because like everyone's life at Christmas time, you're worried about your own family and trying to do all the holiday events, and it just becomes kind of chaotic. And so when you add in trying to make sure you have a thoughtful gift for somebody, sometimes it's hard not to just do like the gift card route or more of a generic gift because you haven't had the chance to really get something thoughtful. And I like having all of my homemade products on hand because I can usually sift through them depending on who it is I'm gifting to, and find them something that would fit them. I feel like I offer enough of a product range now that there's usually something for everybody. So yesterday was my first market, my first fall market of the season, and it went really well. It was in a park, so I had to bring a tent, but the weather was beautiful, so that's the only thing with um, the outdoor markets. Obviously, with this kind of business, you have to be really careful because if it's rainy, especially with your soap or bath bombs, right, you're not going to be sticking around. But it was a bit drizzly in the morning, but I had the table moved far enough back and there was no wind, so I wasn't worried about, the rain splattering up, etc. And then it cleared up after about an hour and it was a beautiful afternoon and day. And it kind of really got me into the fall season, so that was nice. We have a couple of more markets coming up for the holiday period. I have really slowed down this year on markets. I haven't had to do as much. When I first started the business, I was doing markets almost every weekend to get my name out there. And it was sort of the only way that I was making sales when I first started. Like when you open a business and put your products on a website, you have to drive traffic to it. So, you don't have any Instagram followers, you don't have any presence at all online. And so, you do a couple of posts and you might get a couple of sales from friends or family, but that's not a sustainable business model. And so you have to put a little bit of, or at least I did, I had to put a little bit of extra effort out the first couple of years and really hustle, which was actually something I didn't fully anticipate when I started this business out. But that was my experience. I'm sure other people have, faster success, but for me, my success was directly related to my effort I put in. So I would go to a market and then I would get a couple of online orders right after the market, or you would see people, you'd hand out your business card with every purchase, or you'd talk a little bit about, if you follow me on Instagram, you can kind of see my new releases. And I often will post little clips of me making the product. So I will tell them that as well. Like if you kind of want to see me, or I often laugh, if you want to see my hands on Instagram making the product, you can do that. And so you would directly see like your followers increase after markets as well. So for me, my experience has always just been like a direct relationship between me attending markets and then orders coming in and or followers, which you hope eventually converts to orders, I suppose. I also find by going to markets, it generates more markets, whether it be, you talk to fellow vendors and you kind of get to know the scene, at least in a small town, because there's only so many small businesses. And you make friends, and then they start to recommend markets that were worthwhile for them in the past or new markets that they're trying. And so then that stems, ideas for yourself of whether or not you want to apply. And then also I see a lot, especially in this small town, of the people that are putting on the future markets, like scoping out current markets and sometimes they're looking for, a specific vendor or a specific style of vendor. And I find often I get approached. I like to think it's because I have a really nice booth and setup. But sometimes the vendors will look for, they might be looking for a potter, or they might be looking for like a specific type of product too. So they scope these markets out for that reason, as I have seen. And these are turning out really, really cute. I'm going quite slow. This bottom band I've got, getting the hang of it. And it's going on quite smooth, really. Again, let me know what you do for Christmas, holiday candles specifically. Do you offer? I've heard different advice from different candle makers. Some like to offer seasonal products, some don't. Candles is one of those things where they sell, right? Like you don't, when I first started, I didn't have the opportunity to be offering these seasonal lines. So I came out with a line of 8 candles, and I think I've changed them up a little bit here and there, but a lot of the base candles I started with are still my base candles today. And I haven't, maybe it's because I do the soap as well, but I never got into the whole cyclical, like in the spring offering, you know, a new spring collection, and then in the fall doing like a whole new suite of candles. And maybe that's the way to go. So let me know if you've had any experience doing both, pros and cons, etc., because I might need to change here, be a little more adaptable going forward. Again, it's never really been a problem for me, so I just haven't tried to solve it, but it maybe is what I should be doing. Here's how they've turned out. I'm really, really happy. They look quite cute. The frosted plum are all done. I only have 5 more to go. So I don't know about you, but I go through these like little boxes all the time. So I just had to find a small box. I'm just gonna start putting these in these small boxes just so I can put them on my shelf. And I've printed just these little labels off my Dymo so that I can keep everything nice, neat, and organized. So I've just got one called Frosted Plum. Stick it on the top of the box and then start boxing these up. Put these away. Well, the vision is coming to life, so that is always a good thing. I mean, the stickers worked out. Like, I love how they look marketing wise, visually. The sizing worked, but I'll admit I like measured them, you know, 5 times, because the last thing you want to do is order. I haven't had any order mishaps like that yet where I've ordered the wrong size, but I'm sure it'll happen. Okay, so these are ready to store on my shelf. Okay, excellent. So I'm just going to continue through here on the next one. The next candle that I'm doing is called Home for the Holidays. I'm hopeful that you can see this okay. And then the lid sticker on the top. So I'm just flipping over some of these pages you see me probably doing here. So because I poured some wax on it, some of the wax is dripped. And what these are actually are like these sticker papers. I try to reuse everything in my business. And so I like just to line my surface area with the paper so that when I'm pouring wax, I don't have to worry about scraping wax off the counter, because I do use this surface for candle making or for soap, for bath bomb making. It's my primary work surface, so I try to keep it clean. I do have my wax melting in my wax melter. And one of my business goals is going to be to purchase a bigger wax melter. Right now I just have a crock pot size wax melter, and it's been Old Faithful. It's worked quite well, but I am starting to get to the point where it's slowing me down quite a bit. It's always slowed me down a little bit, but you weigh the cost of getting something bigger at the time for the scale of your business. And so I was willing to wait for the wax to melt for my project, but I could more or less, you know, multitask, do other things as it was melting. And so it didn't slow me down a ton. But now that I'm year 3 in my Kindle-based business, I'm finding it's just at that stage. So if after all my Christmas markets I have enough profit, I think that is something that I might look at purchasing for next year. Every new collection that you do is so much work. It's not just a matter of finding the fragrance and pouring and testing, and then, mass pouring for sale. You've got to think about your sticker design. You've got to think about your vessel. You've got to think about where you're going to sell them. You're going to do them at, live events, vendor markets, craft fairs. Are you going to put it on your website? Are you going to offer it for wholesale? So it's hard not to get overwhelmed a little bit sometimes. I try just to compartmentalize, step by step, one thing at a time in my business. But I empathize with you if you are also running a small business and feeling overwhelmed, especially this time of year. It's actually funny as I hear myself say this out loud. I used to listen to podcasts and then, of course, watch YouTube videos for other soap and candle makers. And this time of year, so I'd be, year one, just starting my business. And I would always hear them be like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. It's fall. I've got all these orders coming in. I've got all these events going to. And I used to think like, if only I had that problem, like kind of like stop complaining, because when I first started, it was slow. I had to, as I was saying before, I had to drum up all of my business. Certainly didn't come overnight. There was a lot of quiet markets, a lot of trial and error to figure out what products sold, what products didn't sell. I actually redid my business name early on. When I first started out, I called myself Hey You Soaps. And there was a time I was considering Pippopotamus Soaps. My dog's name is Pippa. It took me a long time to find my brand voice, I think is what they call it. But I figured out I wanted to go this more natural, boho, botanical vibe. And so I needed the business name to suit. And I needed the logo and all of the branding to suit as well. Anyway, that all took me, that was like year one of, couple, new business name, going to markets, trying one product, seeing it fail, trying another product, seeing it marginally go, tweaking the packaging, seeing better sales, changing the business name, all of those things. And I don't know if a small town is different than, larger city. I imagine this would be, but for here in the small towns, there's a big trust factor. That might not be the right way to say it, but people love local in my area. They'll support local, but there's a period of time where I think they're kind of feeling you out to see like, is this going to stick? What is she offering? What is this business about? Takes a bit to get the word of mouth out. And I don't know if that's the same in the city. Again, I think it probably would be different. But when I first started going to markets, I went to a farmer's market in Owen Sound every Saturday morning. And mind you, I started in February going to this market. So that's like the worst time of year. But it was also a safe time of year to go because it wasn't overwhelming. Anyhow, it took probably 3 months before I started seeing people come back and know who we were and start to say things like, oh, I ran out of that soap bar. Can I have another one of those? And so that customer loyalty did come, but it took a bit. And now when I go to markets, because I've built up my Instagram and I do a little bit on Facebook too, but my online presence is there. The community, like the people that are interested in you in your community know you exist. So when I go to markets, even yesterday's market, I had obviously pre-posted to say we would be there. And I would get comments from people buying or even just talking to me at my booth saying things like, oh yeah, I vendored with you last year. I know who you are. Or I saw your post on Instagram and I wanted to see if you had this fragrance, like this candle fragrance. I got this last year when you were doing the Christmas market here. Or so you start to get a bit of a following. People will seek you out, which feels really cool. It builds your confidence as a small business owner that you're doing something right, because there is a lot of self-doubt, at least in my head, because you're, let's be honest, you're coming up with all these products and ideas by yourself. You're obviously, I get inspired by other makers, but there's no guarantee that, just because something works for another maker, it's going to work for you. So it can be a bit daunting that way. Ah, it's so cute. And there's the home for the holidays. My light's really bright there, but I think you can see it okay. Really, really nice. Thank you very much for following along today. If you would like to see more content, please like and subscribe. This really helps my small business grow.